Last class what the topic? Hmm? Last class. Only class completed. Can this give us a rest and at rate speed application then. At rate speed application is equal to how many analysis to enable auto configuration. Stable configuration, some components can be matched. We done with the component scanning also. See guys, let me go for some important topic today. What is the important topic? See, in application we have the URLs. So we have the URL like app info. App info class I taken one modular class. Just you can check the app info modular class we can see. Once if we take the app info modular class, see I'll create one URL like to get the app information. To get the app information, you go for the app info URL is there. We are going to create the URL is what app info. For that app info URL, what we should do is let me take one class like app info class. To take the app info class in the model packages, you can take the model classes. You can take one extra class like app info class. What is app info class contains for the properties? Tell me app name and what? App name, version and what message. App name, version and what message. We have the data like that. App info, version and what message. App info, version and what message. Yeah. We have three classes. Good. So this is an app info class. App info class that has how many properties? Means three properties. For three properties, this application name, version, and simply can say message, right? Good. App name, version, and what message. You can take the employee controller class. In employee controller class, you can take one URL, but the URL you take and tell me app info is the URL. Responsibility and return type is what this app info is the return type. So we take the responsibility which is like app info and responsibility type what okay. Otherwise, you return the responsibility and how many values? Three values. One is what status. One is like status. What is status here? HTTP status. What you can say here? Okay. HTTP status that we can write the OK and just we can write the name is what what we can say is header. Yeah, that we can take the header. Header just we can take the info attribute no problem and just we can take the app information something like that. App information that is all okay fine. The last one is what is body. So what is the body we expected here? App info is a body expected. App info contains so many properties, three properties. What are three properties? Version and message. See, app name, version and message we have, and I should return that object. I should return that what? Object. Option one in the controller class, I'm going to create the object for the app info. How to create the object for the app info here? Just you can write the app info. Tell me guys, app info. Yeah, app info equal to new app info. I'm going to create the object like this, option one. But creating object like my developer is good or not good. I told that developer never control application. Who will control application? Yes, IOC container will control application. If IOC container will control the application, you give the instruction to IOC container. Hey, IOC container, create the object of our class. Create the object of our class. Which class object you required? App info object you required. Observe carefully. Wait. Important. Observe carefully what I'm doing. See, we are going to return what object here? App info. App info contains so many fields, three fields. App name, personal message, something like that. Now you are creating object option one. But we are creating object is good practice or not good not good. We are creating object is good or not good not good. If we create the object here, only this place you can create the object. You cannot use that object in multiple places. That's what I will do. I'll write the Java based configuration. What configuration on? I told that we are giving information to diversity container, right? How many ways you can give information? 3 ways. One is what? One is the XML is already living. Java. Second one is what? Java based configuration. I will write the Java based configuration. We write what configuration? Java based configuration. Giving information to IOC container. Hey, IOC container, you create the object of app info class. Create the object of what? App info class. So that IOC container create the object for the what class app info. So that wherever I want, I can simply auto that object. Right? I can inject that object. I can inject that one object. Right? So option one directly I can create the object of which class here? App info. But I directly creating object app info is good or not good? Not good. That's what you're giving what? What configuration? Annotation based or Java based configuration. Yeah. Exactly. So let me going to this going to introduce like Java based configuration. To write the Java based configuration, guys, you take the separate package for that to write the Java based what configuration. See guys, I think last classes we have the multiple packages like this. I click on what new. Let me go for what class and let me go for the what configuration Java configuration. I'm writing the class name itself is the Java based configuration. That's all. What the class name is here? Java configuration. And package name is like config. What config tell me guys here? Java config. Let me take the package name is Java config like that. Click on the finish. Then this is the class. We are going to like what annotation based configuration or Java based configuration. See, you try to understand. Controller class at the rest control. Service class at the rest service. Repository class is what directly annotations can handle. But this is what class now? App info. What class now? App info. App info I cannot make the class directly like what you can say directly creating object is not possible. At the rate controller, rest controller, at the rate service, at the rate repository, at the rate entity, these all are okay. But now I'm going to work with what? App info. App info is what? User defined class. Then you give the configuration. What configuration? Java based configuration. To write the Java based configuration, guys. To write what? Java based configuration. You make this class as a configuration class. At the rate configuration annotation. At the rate configuration annotation, make this class is what class guys here? Now, Java based configuration class. What class here? To represent, to mark your class as a Java based configuration, you are going for the annotation is what? At the rate configuration annotation. In the configuration annotation, guys, here you configure the beans. Beans means what? Which is managed by the IOC container, right? You configure the bean. What bean you have to configure? App info bean we have to configure. That's what, guys. In Java based configuration, we have to configure all the beans. Java based configuration, we have to configure what? All the beans. In Java based configuration, the point is here, in Java based, what you can say, configuration, we need to, what you can say is here, configure all beans. Using like, at the rate bean annotation. What annotation guys? At the rate bean. Up to now we handle what at the rate rest controller, at the rate service, those are annotation based configuration. Now we are handling annotation based configuration, Java based. We are writing the Java code, we are giving information to IOC container, so that IOC container create the object of which class app info. Create the object of what? App info. That's what guys, just you can take the bean like this. What you can say is here, bean. So bean is like to configure the beans. So what bean you want to configure now? App info, like just you can take to one method guys. That method return type is the object. What object you are going to return? App info, right? Just you can write the public. What you can say here? App info. Just you can write the tell me guys. App info and app info. That's all. Here method name is what is here? App info. Like object name is what? App info. That's all. This is you are creating information. You are creating object and giving information IOC container. Once you are giving it information IOC container creates what? Object. So that wherever you want, you can inject that object. But if you create the object means can you inject now? You create app info equal new app info. Can you inject multiple places? No, after 1 week, right? Can you inject that? We cannot inject. If IOC container create the object now, you can inject wherever you require. That's what we are writing. What configuration shall we have? Java based configuration. To make your class is a Java based configuration, we are using and this is what? At the rate configuration addition to make your class Java based configuration. Here we need to configure what? Beans. Configure what we can say is here. Configure all Spring Beans. Spring Beans nothing but what? The classes which is managed by what? Spring IOC container, right? Yeah. Just you can say like configure configure what all what Spring Beans. That's all. What Spring Bean you want to configure? Tell me here. App info method. To take the method, guys, method return type is object name. But the object name here app info. Then you create the object. App info, tell me guys, app info equal to what? New app info. Hey, you're creating object. You're creating what? Object. But this is what configuration tell me here? XML configuration, Java based configuration. IOC container, you create my object like this. We are giving just information to what? IOC container. Then app info contains so many properties. Tell me here. App info dot set. Tell me guys. Set version. Version just let me take the v1.0 something like that. Second one is what is here? App info dot set message. This is the Spring application. This is what Spring project. This is the Spring project. Next one is what is here? App info dot set. App name is like Satya take app, something like that. Okay, that's it. Yes. You create what object here? App info. Then simply can go for what statement this here? Return statement. What we are going to return what? App info object, right? That's what you can go for return statement is what? App info. That's all. So Spring IOC container can understand, okay, this is a configuration class. So I need to create this object. I need to create what? Object here. So we got it done. So here we are giving information to what IOC container. What information tell me? Java based configuration. So what is the advantage that object we can inject in one place or multiple places? Wherever you come, you can inject that object. Wherever you want to, you can inject that object. This is a configuration class. Because you can configure one bean, multiple beans, multiple fields. One bean, multiple beans, multiple fields. Now come to the application guys here. We need to go for what? Responsibility dot what status, header, and body. What's the body you tell me here? App info, right? App info, you need to create the object, all the object is created. Already object is created means what simply can do what? Auto wear, right? I'm auto wearing the object. What are see who create the object? IOC container. So that I can auto wear wherever I require. But if you create the object means what? Only in that place we can use it. So if you create the object means you can create, but the problem is what? In that place only I can use. Then you are creating the object is good. The IOC container creating object is good. That's what guys. IOC container creates what? Object. Then you can auto-wear that object. Then this is app info. Then body is what? App info. That's it guys. Enough. Hey, what the class you take and tell me here? App info class contains so many properties. Three properties. App name, app version, app message. And someone is going to call that object like app info URL. Then what happened, tell me guys? You got the app info, details are waiting. But the details you are creating object IOC container. IOC container where you create, where you configure, tell me here. You configure using what? What configuration? How to make your classes Java based configuration here? Make configuration class. Then what? Configuration class. Then at the end, bean annotation is there. Pattern type should be what? Object name. Second one is what? App info, just you can take variable. It's like method name also you can take the class name only, but a smaller capital, a small you can take. But this is what a capital. Right? Simply you can run this code. If you run this code, just let me right click on the project, click on what start. Hey, now you got the idea for what configuration tell me here? Java based configuration. What configuration? Are you creating app info object? You are creating or not creating? You are not creating. Who is creating them? IOC container creates what? Object, right? Exactly. System details class be injected here. That is the system details. Yeah. You commented and commented. Right click on the project, click on what? Start. Once you click on the start, the Java based configuration will be done. What the URL? You please cross check once. Okay, fine. You right click and start this one. Now the server will start. What is this one? System details injection auto wiring. System details you're using somewhere. Please cross check once. This is yeah, this is app info. This is system info. P increase an exception auto wire dependency. App dot max dot users in the values. Okay, fine. You right click and start, click on OK, click on proceed. Yeah, fine. So now we started the code. Once if we start the code, just you can check the URL. What is the URL for that one here? App info URL. What the app info URL is? API slash v1 slash employees. Just I can write the 8006 and just you can put the slash what the URL is here? App info. And if we click on the app info, then the expected answer is what is the app details. That's it. The details are app details. Anyway, to get the app information, we are making one URL like app info URL, but that object you are creating a Java-based configuration of to make your classes Java-based configuration. What annotation we are using? A thread configuration. In the configuration class, we have the multiple what annotation we have pin annotations. What annotations are pin annotations. That's what just you can place the enter the URL. Just we got the information like this. Now see the output is here. This is a URL for that. But the URL here, but app name is what? Satya type. Question is what? V1. Message is what? This is what was like Spring Boot. That is Java-based configuration. We are giving information IOC container. Hey, IOC container maintain my object. What object? App info object. What object? Maintain my object. You're giving information IOC container. Maintain what object here? App info object. Right? That's what it will maintain the app info object so that we can use this object multiple places. We can automate that object. But here, who is creating object? We are creating object. IOC container create object. That is wrong actually. Here we use a new keyword, right? Who create object then? We created object. Java-based configuration saying that you create the object and you return the object, but the object is maintained by the IOC container. Who created it? We created it. Using what keyword? New keyword. But Java-based configuration, what advantage is this? Who created object using attribute being you created object, I was container created object. We created object using what keyword? New keyword. But who will maintain that object? So that we can inject multiple places. We can check one place, multiple places. Hey, no sir, I will create the object like a controller will directly create share. The controller will directly create the object. If you directly create the object here controller class, you set the details. Set what? Details. Who create object? You create. Can you inject other places? That is the advantage. Java-based configuration, we are telling to IOC container, please maintain my object. So that one place you can inject and multiple places you can inject. Multiple places we can. That is the Java-based configuration, guys. What configuration? Java-based configuration. I'll tell you one interesting point here. We have the Java-based configuration, right? What the class we configure is your app info. I clearly told that address Spring Boot application is equal to how many annotations? 3 annotations. What is 3 annotations tell? Address Spring Boot application is equal to the component scanning. It scans one annotation, all annotations are It will scan all annotations, number one. Number two is what? Auto enable auto configuration. Servers are auto configured and database auto configured. Is all on what? Auto configured. Third one is what? Spring Boot configurations. Spring Boot what? This class will act as a three annotations, guys. One is what? This class will act as how many annotations? Three. One is what? Component scanning. Component scanning is it will scan all the annotations. What annotations? What annotations shall be? At the rate test controller, at the rate service, at the rate report, we scan all annotations. We got the component scanning advantage. Number two is what? Enable auto configuration. I clearly told that enable auto configuration is what? Servers auto configured, database auto configured, database connections automatically what? Created. Enable auto configuration also you got the clarity. Third one is what? Spring Boot configuration. It means this class will act as a Java based configuration class also. This class will act as what? Java based configuration. This class will act as Java based configuration also. Here itself we can write the Java based configuration because this class itself will act as a what class? The class will act as what class? Java based configuration class. There itself, you can write the Java based configurations. But real time we have the one class and multiple classes configuration. That's what we are taking the separate class to write the Java based configurations using what annotation is here? Configuration. Using separate class, you write the Java based configurations, no problem. Option one. Option two is what? Even in the main class, even in what? Main class. Here itself you can write the what class is here? Java based configuration. But we can write Java. That's what this class will act as what class? Java based configuration class. You please tell me how to configure the bean once. How to configure the bean, spring bean. To configure spring bean, what annotation? Enter it bean. What bean we have to configure? Public app info. Method name you can take the app name you can take. Here you can take the object of what? App info. Tell me app info equal to what? New value. Now we are writing the Java based configuration separate class in the main class itself. So the main class will act as what? Configuration class. The main class will act as what? Configuration class. Then you can write the app info dot what set app name. App name is what students ID something that project name we can give. And here you can see guys app info dot set version. What is the version guys? V28.5 like that. So I can write the version. The next one is what? App info dot set what? Message. So this is what configuration is here? Java based config. In what class is here? Main class. Separate class you are taking, main class you are taking. Then the Java based configurations, guys. Now we can come to the application. You click on what? Refresh. What we expected answer now? Now app info is maintained at what? We need to go for what? Return statement. Return what? App info. Because return type should be what? Objective, right? Now we are writing the Java based configuration in separate file in the main file itself. In the Java based configuration file, do you have any beans are configured now? No beans are configured. Right now we can run this code, we can refresh the application, we got the output. Now we can check your output, guys. We got your output. Yeah, this is your output. What output you got? Students ID version 20. This is a Java based configuration. Where we written? That's what your class will act as your configuration class. Java based configuration class. Exactly. So your project will act as what class is here? Java based configuration class. There we can write the one configuration, multiple configurations are multiple configurations. That's what it is. This class will act as how many annotations? This is equal to 3. What is what? What is a component scan? It will scan one annotation, all annotations. All annotations in its main package and what sub packages. Number one. Second one is what? Enable auto configurations. Enable auto configuration is what? It enables the database, it enables what? Servers. Third one is what? This class will act as a what class? Spring Boot configuration class. Spring Boot configuration class means what? Here itself we can write the Java based configurations. But here writing the multiple Java based configuration good, a separate file is good. That's what you will put the code here and you take the separate Java based configuration file. How to take the separate Java based configuration file? Tell me. Separate file you can take, and here what you can say, control Z you can take. This is what app info. Then return type is what is your app info. That's it. That's enough. Now we can refresh the file. Now we got the that is Spring Boot project, right? So they take application. Hey, there is some what configuration is here? Java based configuration. See, at the pin object, you are creating object, IOC container creating object. Here we are creating object, IOC container. But who manages that object? So that we can inject that object one place or multiple places. That is it. That is Java based configuration. And this configuration we can write in what place? Only in the configuration class you can write, other places you can write. This is what configuration of Java based configuration. I written separate class like what class? Configuration class. What class? What I'm asking now. Can you write this Java based configuration only in the configuration class or other places? What place? Other places? Exactly. What class? Main class. Because main class will also act as what class? Java based configuration class. Main class will act as how many annotations? Three. One is the what? Components can, second one is what? Enable auto configuration, third one is what? Huh? Spring Boot? That's it, guys. Hey, last class I told what are stereotype annotations? What are the stereotype annotations? I told that greeting IMPL class. We have the stereotype annotations, right? How many stereotype annotations we got? మన నిద్రపోయి క్లాస్ అయిపోయింది కాబట్టి what are stereotype annotations? We have at the rate REST controller and at the rate service, at the rate remote, and at the rate hey, I told that at the rate component, right? At the rate component is a parent component for all stereotype annotations, right? Is the parent or the component is a parent for what? Now you tell me, so at the rate REST controller, are you creating object? IOC container create object. At the rate service, at the rate REST repo, at the rate component, at the rate component, are you creating object? IOC container. At the rate REST controller, at the rate service, at the rate repo, and in the MVC concept, yes, we have at the rate controller also. At the rate what? Controller. How many stereotype annotations total we have? 5. These 5 they are creating object, IOC container creating object. At the rate pin is what? At the rate pin is IOC container creating object, we are creating object. Where we are writing at the rate pin? Java based configuration. Nice. Where you are writing is at the rate pin. At the rate pin is used like to configure the pins in Java based configuration. Use tell me guys, use at what level guys here? Method level. Yet what level guys here? Java based configuration code. What code? Java based configuration code. Here the object is created by, tell me guys, object is what? Created by developer, but what? Maintained by IOC. So that we can inject that object one place, multiple places. Java based configuration is very important. They'll ask the question like, what is the difference between at the rate component and at the rate pin? What is the difference between at the rate component and at the rate pin? At the rate component, we are creating object, IOC container create the object directly. IOC container create what? Object. You have the control over the object, you don't have the control, just IOC container create the object. Just IOC container create the object at that component. What is the P here? We have the control. So simply at that P annotation means you tell that in the Java based configuration. Tell me guys, in the Java based configuration on the method level we are using at the rate P. Here we have the control over the object. Wait, at the rate component means you have the control IOC container create the object. At IOC container, see the return greeting IMBL. Just this is a class we have. Who create object? IOC container. Do you have any control over this object? No. At the rate P is where we used Java based configuration. Where we used in Java based configuration we are using at the rate what annotation is here? B annotation. And we have the control to create the object. We can set the values and Here we are writing what annotation. We are set the rate what B. Are you setting the values? So I will see kind of create the object. It is we have the control, no controller. We have the control like at the rate B, right? Because we are creating object and we are setting the values. But who manages the object? At the rate component, we have the control, no control. Because there is a fancy English question. So the different at component and at what? B. At component used at class level. IOC container create the object directly. No control over the object. And at B is used at what level? Java based configuration on the top of the methods. Here we can create the object and we can set the values. We have the control over the. Which one is have the control over the object, guys? Huh? At B, we have the control over the object. Good. That's the point, guys. I told the last class like an at component and this will create the object. And I told that by default, what I told by default class name is taken as what? By default, class name is taken as what? Reference variable. Class name is taken as what? Reference variable. And if you want to give your own name, I told that what I told at the time of qualifier. At the time of qualifier, what I told by default, class name is taken as what? Reference variable. This is who create object is IOC container. What the object name is? Object name is same as what the class name. Object name is same as what? Object name is the same as what the class name. But if you want, you can give your own name using what the component of what. That is not required. Just take a name. You got the clarity about iterate component and what iterate B, right? Tell me guys, what class you created now? One is like app info. What class ma? App info number one. Number two, Java based configuration. Next this is like yeah, step one. What the step one tell me? You create the one class like app info class. What app info class contains? Yeah. How many properties? Three properties. You write the setters, getters. That's a common code here. After that, we need to configure this class. Where we are configuring this class? Where you configure the class? In Java based configuration, like Java based configuration, you configure the class. This is a Java based configuration. Configure all the Spring Beans here. Configure all what? Spring Beans. This is the configuration class. First, you create the class. For that class, you create object. But this is what configuration now? Annotation based configuration, Java based configuration. Who created object? We created object, but managed by IOC. That's it. We create object, but managed by what? IOC. That's it, guys. After that, we have the URL. What the URL tell me here? Employee controller. This is the app info we have, and the app info. This is the data we have. That's it. Okay, total how many steps guys? Three steps. Step one is what? Create the class to maintain the data. Second one is what? Create the object. But this object is managed by IOC container. You inject that object using how to inject that object? Auto whiling. After injecting and return the data. After injecting what? Return the data. That's it. Better points. then we will buy, he will win.